I can say.
Get ready for the ultimate journey of transformation and growth. Welcome to season 2 of the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside a dynamic team of co-hosts, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. Together, we'll dive into the toughest topics, share inspiring stories, and provide practical advice to help you become the best version of yourself. From overcoming obstacles to achieving greatness, the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast is your ultimate source of motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. So gear up and join the movement. Tune in to season 2 of the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative.
This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are here to rejoice and to be glad in it. Of course, we want to welcome you again to the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast right here inside the studios of HGG Radio, number one for gospel music in Edmonton. And of course, on a Saturday morning, you know what we do. We come on in and give you great information, discussion, and everything in between. And so we're so grateful that you're here with us this morning. We are happy that you're here. It's not the same without you. And so we are so grateful that you are able to join us on yet another Saturday morning on the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. Yes, we are getting your comments and your feedback, and we want to say a big shout out to all our listeners near and far that has joined us from Saturdays after Saturday. You're the one that help us to keep this thing going, of course, because we get your feedback and we know how much this show has been a blessing to you, and we want to thank you for being here. We also want to pose a challenge that you just share this with everyone that you know, everybody in your contact. Share it. Let them know we are on a Saturday morning, and you want to make sure that they're getting the information, they're getting the inspiration, and they're also being empowered and informed. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan. Alongside me is a great panelist, a great co-host. Pastor Clive Atkinson is here. And of course, joining us back again, he's the pastor of Glory Carriers Ministry. My God, down there in Kingston, Jamaica. Reverend Carl Brown is back with us here on the panel, and we're so grateful to have him. You know, the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast is a space where strength meets vulnerability, and where real men have conversation that inspire growth, healing, and purpose. And so here we're going to have this great discussion. We started last week, and we're continuing the discussion as we're diving into the powerful topic, the weight we carry, breaking the silence on the inner struggle of men. Because too often we wear strength like armor, silence, stoic, and struggling behind the scene. But the truth is, even iron bend under pressure when it's never given the chance to rest. In this episode, we're exploring the hidden battles, the emotional, mental, and spiritual loads that many men carry alone. We'll explore what scripture says about surrender, strength, and support, and why God never designed us to walk through life isolated or ashamed. From King David's cry to Jesus' moments in Gethsemane, we're reminded real power is not found in pretending, but in pressing through with faith. So, brothers, whether you're carrying stress, fear, failure, or just the pressure to keep it all together, this one is for you. It's time to talk about it. It's time to lift the weight. And I'm so glad that so many ladies are joining us also on the program so that they can understand what is happening with men and why men think, feel, and behave the way that they do. So let me say good morning to my panelists and welcome them to, of course, greet you and say something. Pastor Clive, good morning, sir. Reverend Carl Brown, Overseer Brown, good morning, sir. Welcome to the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. I'll give you an opportunity to greet the masses.
Blessing and peace be multiplied, man. God bless you. Reverend Carl, Lord bless you. Good to have
Bless
you
you.
again, sir.
Bless you, Pastor. Bless you, Dr. Lincoln. Good to be here again.
Greetings.
And to those that are out there that's joining us another week, we're happy that you're here as well. God bless each and every one of you in the name of Jesus.
Awesome. And just a little later in the show, you'll hear from Bishop and Elder Muir. On Tuesday, was it Tuesday, Rev?
It
Tuesday,
was Tuesday.
Reverend
Yes.
Carl Brown has his inaugural launch. He has his men group. Reverend Carl Brown, talk to us a little bit about that before we go into the program. I think it was a wonderful conversation where men has joined in on Zoom and really just talking about the weight that men, the different silence of men and the weight we carry and thing. But in this conversation, we had men talking, people from everywhere, and just joining and talking about, their. It was so powerful. Reverend Brown, I'll give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about it.
Thank you, Dr. Lincoln, for mentioning. And let me say, for those that are on and you had joined us, I really appreciate it. It was the first, our inaugural, program, and we had quite a few, probably over 20 odd men for the first time, the
Hmm.
first Zoom meeting we were having. Very powerful discussion we had there, talking about breaking the silence, and we had men. I was really happy that the men came and felt safe. I was a little concerned that at the first time, what it would have been like. But we had men opening up. And even after the discussion, days later, I kept getting texts and persons were saying, Rev, thank you very much. I had even some ladies respond, messaging to say, one lady said, I was driving home, couldn't, get a chance to comment, but this was powerful. And more than one ladies, just messaging to say they sneaked in the room, you know, and they thought, what we're doing is powerful. So I must say thanks again. It's called the Powered Up Man Mentorship Network. And if you're not a part of the WhatsApp group, we can put the number up in a few and you have that. So I can connect you there. There's the Instagram page, Powered Up Man Mentorship Network. We are off to a great start and we'll be doing awesome stuff with the men. Thank you very much, Dr. Bryan.
Thank you so much, Reverend Brown, and he's back here with us again this morning to have this powerful discussion. Reverend Pastor Clive, the power of connectivity, because there are persons who came on and said, we joined it, we were on the Iron Man and we heard about it, and we
Right.
decided we are joining the network. And I'm telling you, men need support and men need help. There's one person who come in and said, I need help, and we're able to pass them the number and say, connect with us here, and so that we can talk. And so the same thing, we're plugging over here because we are not afraid of sharing
No, no.
or audience on our network, and it's all about connectivity so we can help in different spaces, whichever way we can, as we have the discussion here on the Iron Man. And then when you go over to the Power Up Men mentorship, it's a more personalized connection that you can connect with somebody and you can connect with a group continuously having those conversations. So again, thank you so much, Reverend Brown, for that. Elder
Thank you.
Muir is in the place. Good morning, Elder Muir, and welcome, sir. I'll give you an opportunity. Say hello.
Good morning, 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 morning to you, Dr. Bryan, my pastor, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Reverend Brown. It's good to be back with such a dynamic group of men. And of course, I want to greet all those who are online with us this morning, another morning. It's good to have you here with us. And we're anticipating yet another series, another discussion, another time, whatever you want to call it, where we delve into the reality of what affects us. And the topic is so welcoming, the weight that men carry. God bless you
Yes.
all.
Powerful. Thank you, Elder Muir.
The, Dr. Lincoln, before
Yes,
you
sir.
go, I don't want to start before I mention something about the program Dr. Call had on the weekend and on Tuesday. Is that the program I couldn't stay on because I had double booked myself. I had another engagement, so I couldn't stay on. But I want to say is that men definitely need a space that they can, talk about things. And if you have a friend, a husband, a uncle, because oftentimes you hear persons commit suicide, and you're wondering what's going on because We don't want to suppress the man within the man, kill the man within the man. We want the man to be able to can express. And sometimes men hardly want to express themselves because it sometimes it will sound like as if they are being weak. It's not, so we're happy for the space, Reverend Carl, and we want to promote this because we need something like this. And Reverend Carl has said last week, he's not looking for members. It's not about somebody from your church. If you know your church leader and just talk to your pastor, say, hey, there's a group, and if all men across the world can join on Zoom just to hear what's going on, you may end up save a life. You don't know who you're going to be reaching out to. That's all I want to say, Dr. Lincoln.
Yes,
It just
thank you
came to
so
my
much, sir.
thought while Reverend, I keep saying Dr. Cole.
You need to go back again.
Dr.
Stop
Cole.
running away from it. Go back, Reverend Carl Brown, with your
Yes,
young self and get that thing done.
sir.
He's my good friend and my brother for many, many years.
And
Amen.
God bless you too, Elder Bjorn. God bless you.
Yes, amen. And so this will stay. I mean, this help us to segue. But let me say good morning to everybody near and far, because we always tell them meet us here or beat us here. And let me see, some people beat us here. Jacqueline Brown, you beat us here this morning, and Emery Smith, you're just right there on the ball. We say good morning from down there at Antigua, and everybody. She can't see you. Thank you for being in, and all the way in England. Hello, Nisi. Thank you so much for being here. She's shouting me out. Thank you so much, and it's good to, of course, have our friends in the UK that are joining us. Welcome, UK Massive. Jamaica Massive is on. Florida crew, we say good morning to you. New York, I see you. Thank you so much for being on. And to all those who are joining us, the Falconers, as check in. Thank you so much. Tara said, I sent my husband the link, and when I came back from church, he told me, thanks for sending him the link. It was indeed well needed. Thank you so much for doing that, Tara. And we're saying to everyone, share it with your friends. And as Pastor Clive said, uncle and everybody, cousin, you never know the life that you are changing, saving, and touching, because men tend to keep things in. As we said, oftentimes we wear strength like armor, and then we deal with the silent and stoic of struggling behind the scene. So in front, we make it look everything all good, but in reality, we are struggling. Reverend Carl Brown, I'll come to you, sir, as we start with this. Last week, it was so powerful. Everybody saying, Rev, we are revved up and we are ready for part two of this. We are ready for part two of this. Pastor Carl Brown, I want to start it this way. What do you do, Reverend? What do you do when you feel like everything is falling apart, or you feel like you had to keep it together, when the truth is everything is falling apart on the inside? What do you do? Because at the front of it all, you have to pretend as if everything is good, but the truth is it's falling apart. Everything is crumbling. Everything is crumbling. What do you do? What do you do? You're muted.
What do you do when you feel like everything is falling apart and you just have to be strong? First of all, let me tell you, you don't have to be strong. It's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to say I need help.
Yes.
I feel lost, confused, or if you're anxious, it's okay to say that. First of all, I just wanted to, make that clear. You don't always have to be strong. You don't always have to, think that you have to be okay. If you're not okay, it's okay to say you're not okay. When one speaks up, it gives another man permission to do the same.
Mm.
Yeah. When one man speaks up, it gives another man permission to do the same. So even though it's about you at the moment, while you decide to speak up, you are also allowing somebody else to realize I am not going through what I'm going through by myself. My situation is not unique. All right. And this is how cycles of emotional isolation begin to break. This is how healing begins. I think I was looking at James 5, verse 16. It says, confess your faults one to another so that you may be healed. So, I believe that, as I said earlier, you don't have to always feel like you need to be okay. If you're not okay, start talking about it. That's where healing begins. Just even before getting the answers, confess your fault one to another so that you may be healed. Healing starts by just talking. So you don't have to feel like, always, want to be okay. If you feel like you're breaking, if you feel like you're not doing well, that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. Confess your faults, talk to somebody, and your healing begins right there.
That is powerful. So it's okay to say something. Say that I'm
Okay,
not doing okay.
I'm not doing okay.
I'm not doing okay, and I want some help. And that's the only way we can get help, when you say something. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. And so Pastor Carl is saying that you don't have to be strong, you don't have to play Superman, you don't have to do all of that. If you're not doing well, you're just not doing well, and that is the truth. I'm not doing well right now.
Mhm.
Reverend, I'm going to come to you, Ella Muir, as we really just start to lay a foundation as to where we're going, because you know a lot of time we have to lean so much on sometimes our faith and our brotherhood, and we want to share how important brotherhood can be. you know um what will really help, you'll say, to break that silent and to start that healing as we talk about brotherhood. But then for somebody who don't really talk or feel like I can't really, how you start that conversation, because you're dealing with some sensitive things where sometimes men struggle to say this is my reality. How would you say we can start to have that conversation? How you start by telling somebody that, listen, I'm struggling, and I feel like the truth is, I feel like I want to run away, or and those battling even suicidal thought, and you just don't know how to have that conversation. Help us, Elamir, help a man. How you have the conversation?
Maybe I need help myself.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you, bless you. But the reality of it is that we don't necessarily like to talk. That's the reality, the foundational aspect. In order for a man generally to open up, they have to find what is called a safe space. As for me, I don't tell people my business. And that's the truth. That's me. That's my personality, right? However, there are persons that I can look at and based on their character, because if I'm going to speak with you, I have to have like a basic history, or if God leads me directly to you, of who you are. Are you a person that chats everything here, there, and everywhere? I was going through, I was going through a situation, and I was looking around me, and I'm wondering, how am I going to um, get this off my chest, right? And then I remembered that I have a friend that is sold out for God, one that you can confide in, a true man of God that does not necessarily go and chat your business with anyone, but someone that will pray you through. It is important that you have persons around you that will have your back. So in breaking free, you as an individual have to identify the persons in your circle that may be able to help you. If you cannot find this, sometimes you may need to look outside of your circle now, right? Because it's important for us to release anything that is held on the inside can become explosive, right? It builds pressure. And so identifying an individual is fundamental to us opening up. Sometimes it gets so bad that you open up to the wrong person because at the time you were upset and the person was there. So you have to try to find that individual, whether in church, it depends on what is happening, or outside of church, because sometimes even your very church brethren becomes judgmental and cannot handle what you want to say, especially when it comes on to your relations, your wives, your wife, and things like those, you know. So we have to identify the individual based on that character or history or the leading of the Holy Spirit. And that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you so much, Elamir. That is very important. Very important. Not everybody we can open up to and tell when we are going through. We must be, and Elamir said, we must be wise to select the right person to have the conversation. Bishop, how are you doing? The Honorable Bishop is here. Bishop, I'll bring you in just to lay your fundamental thought on the whole topic of the weight that we carry, breaking the silence of that inner and the inner man, the struggle rather, breaking the silence of the struggle of that of the inner man. I'll bring in Bishop for your opening thoughts.
Thank you very much, and greetings, everyone, in the wonderful name of Jesus. Yes, I was thinking about it this morning, and men are not normally talkers. Men, when they're going through something, normally keep silent, and while women, on the other hand, will talk to their friends about it, and things like that. Men always try to, are just not talkers. And I was just doing a little bit of study in Canada this morning, and recognized that the suicidal rate for men is 3 times that of women, right? And I didn't get to finish just exactly to see what are some of the reasons, but I would guess because of the fact that men keep stuff on the inside and don't talk, right? And I heard Elder Muir, and Pastor Carl Brown talking about talking, and even saying the fact that it's okay not to be okay, because we will not be okay 100% of the time. A man that is born of a woman is of a few days and is full of trouble, right? So we will not be okay, right? Things will come and test us, but the way we grew up, our background, and so on, and many of us were not taught how to handle trouble, how to deal with trouble. And so as a result of that, when trouble comes, sometimes we think the best thing to do is just to opt out of here. And so therefore I encourage all men to talk, right? Men will have trouble. I was thinking about this, Dr. Bryan, if even as preachers, sometimes it's worse for preachers, because sometimes you will have trouble in your marriage, but you can't tell nobody. And when you get the mic, you have to go up and say, "Oh, my darling wife, she's my sugar and my honey bun. She's my star. She's the sun in the sky," and make up all kind of stuff because you want it to sound good. You want nobody to know. But nobody know that boy in the house is here fighting. You haven't got nothing for a while, and all these kind of stuff, right? Because it's out there. While a woman, we will see it on our face. And she would tell her friends, I'm not happy. She go to the barber shop, and she the hairdresser, and she talk about it, right? So it's important, brothers, right? Brothers. If you have an issue, find another brother that you can talk to and sit down and reason as man. It helps just to talk, even if they don't have the answer. Just to talk is important, right? So that's my opening introduction, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. And sometimes you have some solid mothers in the church, mothers in your community, somebody you can confide in that has great wisdom to impart. I remember there was a period in my life where I was going through, and the Lord directed me to go to this mother house who always pray for me. I go preach at this particular church and always pray for me. And in the midst of everything, the Lord tell me to go to her. And I went to her, Bishop. I called her and I said, "I want to visit your home. I've never gone there before." And I was really dealing and feeling the weight of everything. And when I went, she said, "I'm on my way home. I'm 5 minutes away." It's like an emergency that I needed to go. And I just fell down at her feet and I just wept because the weight I'm carrying. And mother said, "Come, let's go." And mother have a little prayer room in her house. She built that little prayer room. And let me tell you, when you go into that place, you know that that's where she stay and really seek the Lord. And when she finished praying and I'm able to talk and get it, I mean, solid mothers, solid women of God, solid apostolic mothers that save and sanctify and gonna spread your business. And that's who I've always gleaned to, even to know. And so if you have those people who are going to pray, because when them finish anointing with oil and praying, Almighty God, you feel like all the trouble gone. You're wondering what you came so heavy, you're leaving light. So I'm telling you, that really, really can help. So Bishop said, have the conversation, say something. Reverend Colburn, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna input before I come to Pastor Clive. You had to say right here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Bryan. One of the things, well, a few of the things that we can do is start with someone you trust, which was mentioned earlier. Find someone that you trust that you can talk to. Ask, can I share something personal with you? Find someone you trust. Keep it simple and honest. You don't have to tell everything at once. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the load is so much that we want to offload everything one time, but you can start, in bites. I call it bite-sized pieces. Lately I've been struggling. I don't even fully know how to explain, but I just not been okay. Just start the conversation. Keep it simple and honest. Let go of needing to have all the answers. Sometimes we want to have have the discussion and to also have the answer, prove that we have the answer. Again, as a man, you want to prove that I'm in trouble or I don't, I'm in a spot, but to be man, you want to prove that you also have the answer. You don't need to have it all figured out before you speak. Sharing the confusion itself is part of the process, right? So, these are some of the ways that you can start a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge the discomfort. This is hard for me to say, but I'm not used to talking about stuff like this, but I'm tired of pretending. Things
Mm-hmm.
like these, we can acknowledge that it's uncomfortable for you to even start this conversation. Boy, I don't even know where to start from. But all I know, I'm not doing well. These are ways that you can start a conversation. Don't don't have a conversation to act as if, yeah, because I'm man, I'm coming to tell you I have a problem and I also have the solution. You don't have to you don't have to approach it like that. So these are just some of the other ways that we can start a conversation.
Yes, thank you so much for those practical advice, Reverend Brown. You mentioned something, and I just want to do a follow up. And Pastor Clive, I'm coming over to you. I just want to do a follow up because there's a comment here that said it's up to the
Mhm.
church to promote creating safe space for confession and renewal, so that a pattern of internal communication can be grown in the homes and in the congregation. How do we
Mhm.
create that? How do we start from as a pastor? How do we create and promote those space where persons feel open and honest to talk about what they're dealing with? And I mean, it can't be talked openly to everybody. So how do we create
Mhm.
those? What groups can we put in place? Our support system where a person can come and have those conversations. I'll follow up with that, Reverend Brown.
Okay, first of all, again, is building that trust. Like for me, I have a way of sharing my life experiences with my congregation. And I'm not talking about complaining to them. Like if I'm speaking on a particular subject, I will let them know, I know that God is a provider and a waymaker because I slept in the street before. Transparency, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tell them I have respect for that transport center out halfway tree. Every time I pass, I have a moment of silence because I slept out there before on the street side. So you being vulnerable, allow people to realize that this is not a fake, because some of us can pretend so much that people find it hard to relate to us. They don't believe that you'll be able to understand.
That's so
Sometimes you preach and say,
yes.
Pastor, I don't know what I say. Pastor don't understand. Say, but I use the opportunity, to let them know. If you're talking about failed relationship, I can tell you about that. If you talk about sleeping in the street, I can tell you about that. If you talk about being strung up in the hospital and think that this was it, I can tell you about that. I share. I become transparent, so people realize that they're dealing with human beings. Too
Mm-hmm.
often they feel as if, oh God, it doesn't make sense. I talk to him. He doesn't have a clue. He can't. They don't think that you are relatable. You can relate to their situation. So one, I believe transparency is a good place to allow others to realize that they can talk. Two is like what we're doing, mentorship and support groups, in church. Have these groups, have these connections, make yourself available. And I know for larger congregations, it might not be the easiest thing, but make yourself accessible. Accessible. Make recommendation. If you are not able to deal with a particular situation, and I know we struggled back in the days, Dr. Lincoln, when we were growing, that our pastors would not want to recommend us to somebody else because them things say them are going to teach their members. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I know there are pastors who are specialists, in trauma and whatever. That if somebody comes to me with that kind of situation, I can let them know, I am not, I have a not, I know someone that I can recommend who is a specialist in this area. I want to ensure you get the best help possible. I don't want to open it up and not able to complete this,
Right.
right? So you can recommend them to other persons who are specialists in the area. So these
Yes.
are just some of the ways that we can look at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Reverend Pastor Clive. I'm coming to you because, as Reverend Bruno was talking about some practical ways how we connect and how we start the conversation, and I mean, I really love those practical ways. Pastor Clive, my question then, I want you to help me. Then, what do you think then? Community and brotherhood are so important, and why do you think it's so important for men who are carrying the weight? Talk to us about the brotherhood and community. Why is it important for us to create this community and to create safe space? And for those in larger church and even smaller church, as I often said, utilize the people within the church, because you have persons who are counselors at your church, child and youth development at your church. Create a group, and that is a group that deal with counseling, child and youth issue, because persons coming who have children with behavioral issue, somebody there work trained to handle that. But Pastor Clive, how you think community, why you think community is so important, community and brotherhood are so important for men who are carrying the weight? And similarly, we don't want to ignore our women who also go through too. And ladies, some of these practical points is the same thing apply, that you can have that conversation with a counselor, with a mother, with another woman. It's the same thing apply. But why we place the emphasis on men for our ladies is just because men don't open up much. We want to have this conversation so that our brothers really get it. Pastor Clive, brotherhood, community, the importance.
Yes. It's very important for us to create that safe space. Again, we keep on saying it and reiterate it that men does not really love to talk about things that they're going through because of one thing or the other. But it is important for us to create that safe space so that our young men can see real men. We bring the younger men them in from an early age to see that hey, we're not just playing dominoes, but we're talking about positive things. So you could have a men's night, a men's fellowship night once a month. It doesn't have to be every week. And even if you're doing some recreation or activities, the space is there for somebody to can sit down. And let me say this, 'cause while the, Reverend Carl was talking, something just dropped in my mind, Dr. Bryan, is that make yourself trustworthy. I want to talk to some men who should be fathers. Make yourself trustworthy so that, because oh Lord. Yes, we're in the church, but not everybody you can trust. But make ourselves trustworthy that somebody can come to you and whatever they're going through, it doesn't get leaked out. And this is where it starts, where you're talking about the importance now of creating that safe space. The safe space starts with us being trustworthy so that person can look and say, listen to me, I trust this group right here. They have a thing called A&A, program where addicts and persons who are coming out of substance abuse, and they have gone through some things, and they create this space,
Yes.
and that space is family. They can sit there every day and talk about their past, their experience, their struggles, what they're facing, what brought them to that place at the time when they started using or whatever it is. In the and this is secular. This is in the world, and we're talking about now in the church, where if they can do this in the world, and trust me, whatever was said, whatever they're talking about, don't leak out. They don't feel as if that I'm going to be looked upon and be judged, because you have men out there that really love God, but there's other things that's outside of they may be struggling with pornography. They may be struggling with addiction, sexual addiction. There's so many things that could be going on, and you're like, how can I help this brother? How can I help this individual to be able to get over this ump? Remember this, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So the enemy is using the flesh against the brother. And of course, over time, by showing the love and be able to have that safe space, it's as Dr. Bryan, I don't want to stray from what you asked me, and I'm trying to help
Go
somebody
ahead, Rev. Go
create
ahead.
the safe space, meaning that I need to be able to get to a place. Let me just share a little bit. I remember I was a young man. I just came to Canada. I was only 23 years old. And I realized that when things were happening to me in my in my life, I didn't feel like I had nobody to talk to. So I was crying to go back to Jamaica. I wanted to go back to Jamaica. And the reason for that, because I've seen how things were dealt with. And I'm like, but if I put myself out there like this, I'm going to be dealt with like this. So
Hmm.
now at the age 4 years later, my mother does not have hypertension. My father doesn't have hypertension, right? But 4 years later, at the age of 27, my hypertension went through the roof because I have no outlet. My
Right.
doctor now become my outlet, where I could listen to me. I would go and see the doctor just because I want to see somebody. He become my little shrink.
Hmm.
Where I could sit down and talk to him about what I'm facing in my life as a young man. Remember now, at the age of 27, I already have, a family of 4 people or 3 people depending on me at the age of 27, right?
Right.
And in a new country with new everything. And at the time, you're not making the money. So there's so much stuff that goes on, and not because we all have everything else going our way. Other persons who are coming, who don't have it all together, you have gone through it before, so that you can be able to help somebody, guide somebody, and say, "Hey, brother, this is where you put your foot. This is not what you do. This
Hmm.
is now." Once you do that and tell them, if they want to put their foot anywhere, that's their problem. But our
Right.
responsibility is to be able to help somebody, to be able to say, listen to me, if you turn right, this is what you're going to find down the road. If you turn left, this is what you're going to find up the road. If you go straight ahead, this is what you're going to find. I believe that every individual, not only in this time, but even within search of scripture, have gone through some things for experiences to be able to shape the next generation. And if we do not understand that our life, our living epistles, read of all men, the things that we have gone through, the mistakes that we have made, because we have made some mistakes in our past. I've made mistakes, and I can tell a young man, don't do this or don't do that. But at the end of the day, can I be trustworthy to be able to have a young man come to me and say, "Sir, I am going through this without feeling judged, without
Judge.
feeling," and that's where the first step is, to be able to create
Community
that community,
and that
that safe
brotherhood.
place.
Yes, thank you so much. Create that safe space. Must be trustworthy. People can trust you. They are comfortable in doing so. Bishop, I want to look at the psychological effect of silence. Because a lot of time when we become silent, we're not mindful of the internal battles that we start to fight, that we start deal with increase in depression. Pastor Clive talk about hypertension, the chronic stress that start to happen, the low emotional intelligence, the difficulty in forming healthy and emotional connection, and it creates a war. It creates a war between what a man feel and what he think and what he's allowed to express. So there's a battle going on. What he feel, what he think, and what he's allowed to really express because of this war that is happening. And we talk about the real isolation and shame. And sometimes people can really make you feel so, you're so ashamed. And I talk about the spirit of shame that can be such a weight that you carry, and shame and isolation. Because you're shame, you isolate. I don't want to say it again because I say it, and sometimes the way persons receive it, it's your truth and it's your struggle, and how you receive somebody's truth or their struggle can really turn them off, that they'll never open again because of the way what you said. Why are you saying that? As a man, you shouldn't be dealing with that. You're saved. Wait, you don't have the Holy Ghost? How you have the Holy Ghost? I've heard preachers on pulpit and saying, you have the Holy Ghost, what you're doing taking antidepressant, what you're doing taking Xanax, what you're doing this. So therefore persons now are not going to treat what they're going through, because we use our words to shame them about the depression, about the struggles, and doctors realize that you have gone too far, that we've got to help you, we've got to medicate it to help the brain come back in alignment. And while we do that, what we are supposed to tell them, let us pray for you and let's deal with the spirit behind it, while this doctors is treating what's happening, the natural causes, and so we can get you off those medication and so you can realign. Don't shame people. And you're from the pulpit saying all of this and you have the Holy Ghost and you shouldn't be doing this, and the person's even whip counselor. I've been in church where my former pastor is a whip counselor. When you go to the counselor, you have to tell him what you're going through for him to help you. So what's the sense? So we need to be very careful with our words and be careful what we're saying from our platforms, because this will now keep persons in isolation. So you're teaching me how not to open up to a counselor because I have to tell him, I don't know what's wrong with your counselor. Is not he don't have all the answers. You have to tell him what's happening, and so he can, just like you go to the doctor, what's wrong with you today. Then when you tell him what's happening, he's able to start doing the tests, doing the diagnosis from a prognosis, and he's able to treat you accordingly. So I'm saying we must be careful because of the psychological effect that can happen to somebody based on the words that you say, and don't help them but will keep them more in that place of isolation and pressure, and often withdraw from emotionally and socially, that they don't even want to come to certain events that it's going to create some social connection. They rather stay home and become shame become now a constant companion, because misery love company. I'm excuse my ebonics, we are Jamaican. Yeah, misery love company, ain't true? And so persons who sit in misery like to know that they have companion here, you know and real men, we're gonna tell you, real men shouldn't feel that way. So those are some verbiage that we use. And Bishop, I don't know why, but I believe you can talk through here, Bishop, how that psychological effect, how it can keep us locked down based on words that we say to other persons, other men, other women, that will lock them down and cause them not to talk. So yes.
Thank you very much for that. I just want to say also, read the question that you asked, Pastor Cole Brown, in terms of how the church can create a safe space for somebody and men in general to express themselves. One of the thing is, do not take what somebody say to you to the pulpit, right?
All right now.
Don't take it there. Be careful of your reference, even if you don't call a name, right? Because sometimes the person with that issue have come to you, sit down there, and even though you did not call their name, they know that it is you, it is them you're talking about. I give you one example. I remember one lady called the bishop one time, family, and said, Bishop, it's raining today, we won't be able to come to church. And the conversations went well, and he's like, okay. And they still come and they sit around the box, a lot of people, so he didn't see them. And he was preaching, and he said, some of them have car and little rain a fall and they can't come to church. and you know, he was going on and going on, going on. So when she finished preach, when he finished preach and go into the office, she went into the office, and you know, she said, "Boy, Bishop, you licked me today." And he said, "After I never called the name." You know, you know,
Oh my
but she knows that she was the source,
goodness.
right? So be very careful of what you say in the pulpit. Be very careful of your point of reference, because sometimes we have YouTube and so on, and when you say something, even though the person might not be present, there might be another country, there might be somewhere else listening to you, and they know that it is them, and somebody will point them and show them that is them. So just be careful where that is concerned. You know, to be silent is never, ever, ever good. Right. To be silent is never, ever good. It's very important that you talk. And so that's the reason why when you go to counseling, the counselor job is to help you to talk, because the answer they know is in you. Counselor doesn't really try to solve your problem. They let you solve the problem by
With the
getting you to
tools.
talk and
Mm-hmm.
giving you the tools to do it. And by then, at the end of it, they will ask, "So what you think you need to do here? What you think?" Right? And you get the answer, but they need you to talk. So that's why they ask a lot of questions, and they do not ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are questions, I mean, close questions are questions that you can answer just with one word, yes or no. They try to avoid those type of questions, right? And ask you questions that will get you to talk,
Mm-hmm.
because the more you talk is the more you empty yourself and empty your mind and empty what you're feeling on the inside and empty the emotions that is on the inside of you. And when you empty that, that's when you are ready to be refilled. Okay, that's when you're ready to be refilled. And so all they did is guide the discussion and guide the conversation that you are actually having with them. And as I said, they give you the tool. And so it's important, brothers, that you talk. Men want to hear your talk, women that want to hear your talk. You matter. And sometimes you might feel like you don't matter. You know, I use a reference here. Somebody was saying that, boy, their husband just don't talk, and they comes in and they feel so frustrated because the person come home, wife come home, and she wish her husband would, how was your day? How was things going on? Things going on, and so on. Just don't talk. And so as a result of that, she don't talk, and then she end up talking to other people when you are the one that you really want to hear from. Okay, so brothers, we need to hear from you. When you close up stuff on the inside and keep stuff on the inside, you become like a pressure cooker, right? And after a while, you will just burst. And sometimes you do some things that you cannot believe that it is you, because you kept back all of these stuff on the inside for a long time until you just explode, right? And so it's important, very important, that you talk. Do not keep silent. The only way we're going to know what's wrong with you is not because you have your hand at the jar, like how they say in Jamaica, right? The
That's
only
right.
way we're going to know what's wrong with you is not because you're not smiling, is when you open your mouth. When you open your mouth, you tell us what's going on the inside of your spirit, what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your soul, whether you're heavy, whether you're depressed, whether you're discouraged, whether you are frustrated, whether you are down, whether you're right. That's when we are going to know if you are okay. We need to hear you talk. And let me say to other men, when you are with your brothers and you recognize that, boy, they keep quiet, especially a person who's always talking, and so on, and all of a sudden they become quiet. That is your cue to know that something is going on,
Yes.
and you need to get them to talk.
Yeah.
Ask them what's going on. Tell me, this is not like you. This is not like you. And most of us know. So don't see out of their business. Get them to talk.
Yes,
God bless you, sir.
get in their business. So powerful, Bishop. Especially, your friend is talkative and you all meet and always connecting, and he's just hiding or she's hiding. Every time you call, it's something else. No, I can't do this, or I'm not going here. Places you usually go and usually do, and you realize the withdrawn, the isolation, they're just withdrawn. So what you did, nothing really. I just chill, and they're not homebodies. They're persons who go. Those are your cues, as Bishop said, to know that something is going on, and you want to kind of dig into it and really get into their business, especially if it's a good friend. Get into their business. You may not be able to help or solve the problem, but then at least I said, this is what's happening. I think you should see somebody. I think you should speak with somebody. And if you feel like there's people in your circle you can't trust, go external. Find a Christian counselor. Find somebody that don't know you and don't know anything about you, and connect with them. And that's who you talk to. And always remember, every counselor need a counselor. All right, every counselor need a counselor. So even if you're a counselor and you're dealing with, every counselor need a counselor. And I think it's by law here that every counselor and psychiatrist also has to have a counselor and a psychiatrist that hold them accountable. And so we talk about that. Elder Muir, I'll just bring you in here for your take, and then I'll go to Elder Carl Brown. Bishop has really said a lot right there. We know when you hold it in and the pressure, it explode, and what will end up happening too is that you bleed on who didn't cut you, because a lot was going on. And I always said, if you don't deal with emotion and trauma, it will show up in the wrong places at the wrong time. You'll be in an interview, you'll be in a supermarket, you'll be in a place that will affect you at your job, and somebody just say something and you just went off, that even caused you to walk away from money on the table, losing your job, and family don't know what's happening because you did not talk. And so something happened and just trigger that, and you blow up in the wrong place. So have the conversation. Elamior.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan. I must allude to something that Bishop said earlier, that we must talk. Like sometimes when you go in, it is your spouse that you need to speak to. But Bishop, there are times when this is the spouse is the source of the problem, and if you open your mouth, it's going to be a conflict, a war, all out war.
Mhm.
And so we're not telling persons to go out there and this is going to happen and you go and you do it, right? Find the safe space. It might not be the right time or the right person to let go of what is happening. And Reverend Carl Brown, not Dr. Bishop, Reverend Carl Brown said said earlier that something about sharing the confusion. And it's important that we share this. And I think that was such a powerful statement to make,
Mhm.
sharing the confusion, because at times we become confused. I remember when I was uh, much younger, I was going through a particular thing and I was like, oh my God, it means I'm doomed, right? And I was looking at the brethren at the church that I was visiting at the time. And then I spoke with one young man, and he basically laughed. He was like, what's your problem? You're okay. All men goes through these things, man. And we had a chat through it, and that helped me a whole lot, right? And but the problem that we're having, at times we think we're the only ones that are going through some stuff, because what we see out there, we see the best of the best. When we see the couples, we see the marriages, we see the businesses and everything happening. We are not behind the scenes to see what is really happening. And as Bishop said earlier, sometimes the husband goes up and talk all the best things about the wife, and at home it's war, right? And so these are the things that are happening. But what I see here is that we don't have time to socialize with brethren at church. We are caught up in making money and providing for the family, and of course, giving back to church. So we have to be out there. What the word we'll use is grinding, 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 grinding to make that money so we can keep our families going. And that poses a problem, because now all we see are faces and we don't know the stories behind the faces, and therefore we don't engage. And as someone said earlier, it's like when you look at the pastor or the person that is preaching, sometimes we think that they are so high that they will never understand. right? So that those are a few things that we can think about and look at. Now we only see the need for help when we as men feels as if we have lost control. The early stages is okay. We can hold this. We're men. We are man up. But then it reaches the stage where now we have lost the grip. It's like our life has collapsed. Everything has caved in. And so this is a time now when we're in trouble, when we need the help, and that is men in general, right? But something else was mentioned that I found quite interesting. You mentioned something about emotional intelligence, Dr.
Yes.
Bryan.
Yes.
But emotional intelligence then is inversely related to the amount of things that a man holds in. So the more you hold in, your emotional intelligence becomes affected
Mm-hmm.
because you become grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
You're so easily agitated, right? That you have lost who you are, the sense of who you are. You have lost that responsibility for self. You're not accountable to yourself even then. So your emotional intelligence gets affected. So you now act outside of nature. And then when a person or a thing goes outside of pattern or nature, this is when things can get really ugly,
Yes.
because then you're in an unpredictable situation. Any moment you can snap. We've heard it. It was mentioned earlier. So many men, they have committed suicide. And if you check the news, you'll see how many men has come up against their partners, whether violently with physical or with verbal abuse, right? And some even to death. And these are the things that we should look at. We need to release. We need someone that we can really share the confusion with. Someone who understands what a confused mind or confused person will do and say, and not be judgmental. Because I was at a place in my life where I found myself in situations where, trust me, I didn't know I would have ever find myself, and nowhere to turn, no one to go to. And then that internal battle, you realize sometimes you have mood swings that will cause you not to be who God has designed you to be. So we need more fellowship time to know each other. In the olden days it was easier because many people were farmers, right? And so they had time and they had their own business where they could come and say, okay, we're going to have fellowship here. It's all good and well. We want to have church. We want to have fellowship. And I want to point this out because it's very important. We want to have church. We want to have fellowship. We want to go to other churches as well, all the other events, but yet we need to survive in this life that we live. We have to find a balance. Fellowship, yes, but where will the time come from? Who's going to pay for that time? So sometimes we have to make that sacrifice. And as a man, at times, when a man realizes that he's losing out here, he knows it's going to affect the family one way or the other. So he's looking at another battle where he has to be the one to hold it together. All right, God bless.
Thank you so much. That's so powerful, Elder Muir. Powerful. I'm gonna go to the chat a little bit. Of course, there are persons in the chat that is lighting up the room, and we say thank you to all our participants in the chat. Reverend Ray McHugh, bless you, Ray, over there in Rochester, New York. And Reverend Ray says we got to break the stigma and unlock these psychological barriers that have been projected onto men. Marsha Ben said this is very true, much true, Dr. Bryan. We need to deal with these things on different level, different necessary level. And one of the things they comment on is that we don't bleed on who didn't cut us. Clifton Rotty said we need to let men know that they are needed and they are valuable and they are voice, and we appreciate, I believe, their voice and their contribution. Thank also to Pastor Rodney. Pastor Rodney's here. Greetings and salutation, man of God. And Pastor Rodney did mention that we need to create that safe space within our churches, within our space, we create those safe space that men are able to come and to have those conversations, to talk and to let it out. It said it's up to the church to promote creating spaces for confession and renewal so that the pattern of internal communication can be grown in the homes and in the congregation. So there's a challenge there that we create those space, those of us who are in leadership role within the church, and so that we can help to create that balance, which is very, very, very important. Reverend Carl Brown, I'm coming to you, sir. I want to look at the psychological effect that will happen, and we know one of those big ones or those suicidal thoughts and those crisis moment, because statistically men are more likely to die from suicide. Bishop talked about that stats at the top of the show, that men are likely to die from suicide, especially when they feel there's no way out and no one will understand what they're dealing with. And this silence then become deadly when the internal burdens feel unbearable. Talk to us about the psychological effect, Mr. Counselor. Talk about the psychological effect, how it affects the psyche, and let us walk through this one.
Bless you, Doc. Bless you. Emotional suppression becomes emotional numbness. Emotional suppression becomes emotional numbness. We're talking about the psychological effects now of men being silent. Men who constantly silence their emotion begin to disconnect from their feelings altogether. It leads to numbness, not just pain, not just numbness to pain, but also to joy, love, and meaningful connection. You ever ask persons how they're feeling, and they tell you, I can't express it. I can't tell you how I feel today, because that kind of suppression eventually bring numbness, and not just to in a with negativity, but even in love and joy. They can't even express if they are happy today. I've tried to have discussions with persons, and they can't tell me how they feel. I have to say, when I say feeling, I mean expression of, your emotion. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling sad? And sometimes they have to think about it. So that psychological effect, that suppression, eventually turns to numbness, increased risk of depression and anxiety. Silence is not peace. It's of internal chaos with the volume turned down. Did you hear that? Silence is not peace.
Wow.
It's emotional, internal chaos with the volume turned down. So don't believe because someone is silent, they're doing okay. Oh no, he's all right, man. You don't see him over there in his corner. He's been quiet. No, it doesn't always mean peace. Chronic sadness and irritability. That's what happens in some of these situations. Feeling of worthlessness, isolation, and disconnection is another thing. Silence creates distance. Many men feel deeply alone, even in relationships. They may be surrounded by people, but feel unknown, unseen, and the big one, unsupported. A lot of men feel as if they are unsupported. They have children, they have partners, they're a part of an organization, but yet still they feel unsupported. You hear them say things like, if I speak, I will be judged. How many times we hear that? Why are you not talking?
Because
Because
it's
if I
start a
speak,
war, as Ella
yeah,
just
if I
said,
speak,
sometimes in
I
the
will
house,
be
it start a
judged.
war.
That's true,
If
sir.
I
That's true.
cry, I'll be called a sissy or I'm weak. If I ask for help, it means I have failed. And we know sometimes, especially in relationships, you become too vulnerable, and they'll ask, so what me must do? Are you supposed to be providing this? Or are you supposed to be doing that? So what am I, supposed to do? So, if I ask for help, I feel like I'm failed. These beliefs reinforce isolation and rob the men of healing power of connection. So they no longer are connecting, but are isolating. The increased risk of addiction or escapism. When men can't speak, they often find other ways to cope, some destructive ways, maybe, whether it's alcohol, drugs, overworking, gambling. You know how many men would spend time at work, doing work, sometimes not even being paid for overtime. But it's the
Come on now.
escape route. It's that
Mhm.
escape route that when I go home, everybody will be sleeping,
Yeah.
or the naga will be sleeping, right?
Yes. And
So they
women will
find
complain, Reverend Brown. I don't
I
see the
don't see
overtime
man them out
reflecting.
late and it burn
Yes.
a woman
And the
yard
over
when it's just
a
an escape
woman.
route.
Because the
Escape route.
lie is not
Yes.
overtime because I don't see it on the paycheck. But I
That's
see the
right. That's
overtime.
right.
Sometimes they will spend time at church and
Yes.
Yes,
they don't
that's
want to go
true.
home. When church
That's
open, they're
true.
not going home.
Yes,
Close
some
church
people
up.
don't give up, don't drop a catch when it comes to speaking engagement.
Yeah.
My God.
That's a
Anywhere
big
they'll
one.
go to preach
That's a
because
big
they're
one.
trying to escape.
My
That's a big
God.
one.
Right.
So when you're looking
Destructive.
at some
Destructive means.
yes, psychological effects, suppress anger and explosive behavior. So you suppress the anger, and just like Dr. Bryan said earlier, it comes out at the wrong place.
That's
I
right.
remember when I was going through a phase in my life, and I would be traveling on public transportation, and tears are running down my face.
Oh
My
God.
God.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying on the bus. Like, did I do that? How did this happen?
And you
Because
cannot
You big man. You big
can't.
man.
yeah, because guess what? Everything is internalized, and before you
Yes.
know it, the cap go off.
But do you know that right there is when you feel as if that you feel a release in yourself after that cry.
Yes, but it comes
No,
out at the
but
wrong time. And I
yeah, but
say,
the
Yes.
ego as well. Again, the ego as well. The ego as well will allow you to feel ashamed.
yeah,
Like me
but
crying
God
on the
no.
bus.
Oh, God no, man. It's shameful that you just sit down at the bus and a ball.
But remember,
Listen,
it's the same thing I said
I,
earlier.
I
If we
cry on the
don't deal with it, it will come out at the
At the wrong
wrong
place.
place because it's untreated emotion. It's
Right.
condition that is not addressed. It is unaddressed. So it come out at the wrong place.
At the
Have
wrong
you ever seen
place.
somebody a preach and just start preach them whole life or everything and come out and the message just change and them just start up them own self or you go, hold on, this is a whole confession right through here.
Right,
The
yeah.
message change because of what they're going through and they just pretty much turn into a confession
Not
of
dead.
everything they're
Just
dealing
not
with.
dealt
It's a
with.
cry for help. Yeah, the wrong place.
It's going to come out at the wrong place.
The
And
wrong
that
place.
too can have shame, insult to injury. So that no, you busting a ball out in the wrong place. You getting angry in a business meeting. That also no just add shame to the whole thing. It just complicating untreated emotions. It's just complicating the matter. Yeah. So we're talking about suppressed anger and explosive
But
behavior.
Reverend, just to say something before, and you now become the angry black man.
The
And the truth is, you're not angry now. You're dealing with untreated emotions. And
untreated
you're
emotion.
labeled now as the angry
The
black
angry
man.
black man.
Oh, my
If
Lord.
somebody know who has an eye, who may be a specialist or somebody that the Spirit of the Lord might just lead to say, no, something is wrong. I will have to talk to him outside of this kind of setting, somebody who will be able to just say, no, so this is not Lincoln. I'll talk to him after this meeting. That kind of thing. So we're looking at the psychological effect. Identity confusion and inner conflict. Silence can cause men to live performative lives, trying to be what society expects instead of who they truly are. What I really feel isn't valid. This creates a fractured identity, one that performs strength but silently suffers in confusion.
Hold on right to there, Reverend Brown. I have to do a round table right here. You touch something and we can't just let it slide. I got to do a quick round table. Let me set up my table. All of us around here, round table. Bishop at the top, Bishop performative. Pastor Clive talk, Reverend Carl Brown just talk about it. We are, it become performative.
Yeah.
We're just performing, and the truth is, we're not even feeling what's going on. We're operating neck down dead syndrome. Our head is moving, but our body is disconnected to our emotion. Bishop, talk to me about that performative syndrome. We're just performing. But the truth is we're not healed. We're silent. Bishop, and I'll come to Lamir. Quick round table.
Yeah, yeah. Some of us are very good. We will be very. We make a lot of money in Hollywood,
Yeah.
right? Because we are very, very, very good at acting and masking the wounds, masking the pain, masking the suffering, masking the agony, masking the hurt. We are very good at that, right? And sometimes but it's time for us to go see the doctor and get the help that is needed. You need medication. And when let's talk about a pill, is where you sit down and talk to somebody who specialize in what you're going through. All right. And as Carl Brown is showing us, so we can take the mask off. Because we haven't seen the real you in a long time. Where are you? We're looking
Adam,
for
where
you.
art thou?
We're
Jesus.
looking for you. Because the real you is powerful.
Woo.
The
Adam.
real you is anointed. The real you is effective. Right? The real you can change the
Love him.
complexity of everyone and every situation that's around. We have not seen the real you. We have seen you perform. We have seen your act. We have seen all that about you. But where are you? We're searching for you in the
Adam.
midst of your rubble. We are
Jesus.
searching for you. I stop there, sir. God bless.
Bishop, you didn't have to hit us this hard. You didn't have to hit us this hard. We're longing to see you. The real you haven't showed up in a long time. My God, where's the real you? Elamure, this is Bishop. This is powerful. You always just punch us when we don't see it coming. Elamure, the
Sorry,
real
can you
you
go back?
the real you haven't showed up in a long time. We're just picking up the conversation. We are longing to see you because of the mask you're wearing, because you're hiding behind the rubble of what you're dealing with. The real you. Continue, pick it up from there, Elamure.
Rev, that some persons die without actually becoming themselves.
Woo!
They die because of all the things that are happening and what. Listen, Bishop, he said it perfect. It's like sometimes we're in Hollywood, Pastor Clive. It's like you're dying on the inside. Jesus said something that I could apply here, even though it's out of context. Whitewash sepulchres.
Yes.
Is that what you see on the outside looks good? Everything is all right. But on the inside, it's madness. It's madness. It's like electrons out of control, just running around, chaotic. And so it is therefore important for men to understand that if I don't show up, I'm affecting all those who are around me, and especially my generation to come. Because at times they are looking for you. Where are you when I needed you? Where are you? I want my daddy. I want my husband. Mighty God, I want my uncle. Where is he in these times when we need him? Because guess what? He's only putting on a mask, trying. And the mask, the mask is an effort to survive. And sometimes we have this saying that you pretend before you can get there, right? So sometimes this mask is put on as a survival mode, and then guess what? You cannot get it off again.
Permanent, yes.
And you die right there. But we don't want anyone to die today. That's why we're trying to help you. Release it, man. Yes. Talk about it. Find someone. I rest my case. That's what they say, of course.
That's right. Doing Bryan said it's total madness, because you die, Pastor Clive, pick up from there, without becoming yourself. The true you, the purpose in which you came here, has not been realized because you die wearing the mask. So we have not get to see the true you haven't come to the surface, the powerful you, the anointed you, the called you. The you that should call out a generation, haven't come to the process, the loving you. Yeah? Because of the fact that you die wearing the mask and haven't come to the surface of who you are. You die in a situation that was beneath your level. You die in a place that no longer served you and couldn't fit you, but you refuse to move because of the mask that you wear. Pastor Clive, pick up from there, sir.
Look within, look within, look within, look within. The call is greater than your pain where you are at. The call upon your life is greater than the situation that is at hand. So you gotta now work on you so that you can become the best version of yourself, and realizing this, that God is going to use everything that you have gone through to be able to, you know what you're going through is not for you, it is for somebody down the road. Dr. Carl, you know that sometimes people will call and says, how did you manage this while you were going through
Yes.
it?
Yes.
What did you do when you were going through it? You're like, it's like you against the whole world. But then now when you have come out of it, you realize that persons are calling you and says,
Yes.
how did you handle it? So now it's a inward call for you to come up and say, look here, I will shake this dust off. I will arise out of this. Because sometimes people, listen to me, persons around you, they see what they have seen. They have seen the depression on you. They have seen you fail in front of them. They have seen you become vulnerable and weak. They have seen it all, and they do not expect you to bounce back. And they do not expect you to mount up to anything. Or they're like, how in the world is he going to come out of this one? How is he going to even bounce back from all of this one? So you now within yourself have to say, like the prodigal boy, I will arise. I will arise. And that arise is arising to find self and to work on self. How do you work on self? It's by going to some some self courses where when they go to the doctor, and if somebody's having a heart attack, they shock them and bring them back to life. Is to get back some counseling within yourself to be able to help you. And let us stop
Personal development.
quoting the whole thing. That, listen to me, we all need help. We all are going through some stuff. Don't listen to some of us that they're just speaking in tongues. They're behind all that tongues. There's some real issues going on. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, would have gone mad long time ago. But
That's
here
right.
we are saying to somebody that you can come back from where you are and allow God
Yes.
to take you out of where you are and to place you where you ought to be. And let me say this finally. You're not done. Let me not say it like that. You're not finished.
Yes.
You're not
Still
done.
have time. There's
You
still more.
have time. There's
Yes.
more
In you.
about you. You're more than dust.
Yes.
And God is saying, where are you?
Yes.
Come to me. Let me do what I, as God, can do in your life.
Adam Weirdo, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to all the men. Tomorrow, do yourself a favor for your Father's Day and connect. Get some help. Those you're dealing with some untreated emotion, get some help. Father, sometimes the pressure of life is on you, but do yourself a favor for Father's Day tomorrow and get yourself some help. And I'm so glad today we're giving you that Father's Day treat by starting the conversation. See, 2 weeks in a row, we started from last week and we continue this week as your Father's Day treat, just to start having this conversation that I believe is so needed and men ought to hear, because now when we're having this conversation, you feel no men would realize nothing's wrong with you. No women will understand that there's greater in my husband, so I won't give up on him. Now others will know, okay, this is what my uncle is dealing with. So having this conversation help everybody to really understand how men feel, how men deal, in order for men to heal. And so we want to have this conversation. Let me go to the chat. The chat was blowing up, and so we want to go to the chat and just call out some active core. Thank you so much. Wishing everyone a Father's Day. Reverend Ray said, yes, we got to talk. Jacqueline Brown said, Adam, where art thou? Adam, you're in hiding. Come out and come out, Adam. Be your real self. So she's calling out Adam. Marsha Ben said, I will arise. So of course, Dwayne said, Jai Browns got to come alive. Yeah, you can live. You can live you can live. Somebody, Beverly Francis said, we all need help. We pastors of the pastor who counsel the counselor. Those are some of the conversation we have had, and that's why we said every counselor need a counselor. So you also need to connect with somebody that you can offload on when it's your time. Masha Ben said it's time to go and see the doctor. The real you is powerful. The real you is anointed. Jesus, we need you. Some sound words that was coming through the conversation here. Untreated emotions. We talk about those, and of course, a lot. The chat is just heating up. Persons are chiming in the chat. So of course, we want to thank you for being right here on HEG Radio, Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. I'm telling you, we're having this much needed conversation, talking through the psychological effect and the effect that really beat on men. And we're saying the real men are the comfort, the true men, comfort man. We need you. There is so much more in you than what you're dealing with. What you are dealing with and what is in you. What is in you is greater than what you have to deal with. And so you can overcome, you can survive, and not only survive, but you can thrive, and you can be a blessing and help others to come along. Oftentimes, I said, people will talk about how I got over. My soul look back and wonder, oh, I got over. But we don't just want to say it. We don't want to regurgitate just that. We want to tell you how we get over, how to get over, and the psychological effect that affect you, so that we give you the tools. We provide you with the tools and the way how to start the conversation, and so you can have those conversation. Reverend Carl Brown said, invite the chaos, bring it with, bring the confusion when you're going, I don't really know what is happening. This is what, bring the confusion. You don't have to have the answer, bring that confusion, and then the counselors and persons will help you to unravel it, and so that we can help you to become better. One of the things that men deal with, when we talk about the psychological effect, is also strained relationships. So a lot of time, and we touch on it, that women will start thinking the man is cheating, and when they're really just, they're in depression, they're dealing with a lot that is going on. Because when men can't express themselves, it will strain the relationship. It create distance in the marriage, and distance even in the home. And as fathers, it will create that distance with your children, because you are just dealing with, and you are just showing up being broken and not being healed, and it create that distance. Emotions also create that wall, that big emotional wall you put up, that you believe everybody's against you and everybody's coming for you. You just don't want to talk. You're in lockdown, you're in isolation. If I say it, they're gonna say this and that without me. I'm weak, I'm this, I'm dramatic, and all of these things. And so what will also happen is that the communication suffers. No talking going on. We touch on it. I'm just wrapping a lot of the points here. Communication suffer, and it leads to misunderstanding. Yeah, misunderstanding and broken trust. That will happen along a relationship. And so, as we go through some of these pointers here, that will help you. I'm sure this is going to help you. It's going to bless you when you understand much better as to what you're dealing with, what is going on in you, so that you can become the best version of you. I'm going to do a quick roundtable there. But I want to also say that carrying internal burden is not only psychologically damaging, but it also damages you spiritually. It is spiritually draining. You will feel it in the core of your spirit. It's spiritually draining. Peace, remember, always begin in the mind. And peace also is in the soul. So when you're carrying it, it's spiritually draining. So we want you to break the silence and bring healing, not just to the mind, but to the entire man, into the entire human being, your soul, your body, your spirit. Final thoughts. We are going around the table. Elder Mura, start with you. We'll go around the table for final thoughts as we put a wrap on this discussion. We've had 2 weeks of this conversation. I believe it was so potent, and we're able to bring across a lot of great points. Elder Mura, coming to you, sir, with your final thoughts as we put a cap on today's program.
Thank you very much again, Dr. Bryan. Um, have you ever stood before a flower pot and you have spoken to that flower or that garden or anything like that? That's a question I have for men. Because I'm a natural person. Along with talking, there are things that we can do, because I love nature, right? In order to help to relieve you've spoken to the brethren, you've spoken to the psychologist, whoever it is, and now it's you now dealing with you. For me, I need a space to relax at times. Sometimes even sleep. Make sure for those of us who are not getting enough sleep, find some good time to sleep. Remember when you were younger what made you happy? I was happy when I was fishing and bird hunting and things like those. Nature, I love it. And I believe, and for those who love sports, like for me, I love football, soccer, as some people call it. And when I sometimes the pain though, when I go, it's good, but the pain afterwards. So we just have to find that space where we can let go, relax, forget about all that is happening around you, and just relax and see how much that will help you as an individual. Heaven bless you all.
Thank you so much, Elder Muir. Thank you for that. Tara Swaby said, really love this podcast. I pray the blessing of Almighty God cover you, men of God. Marsha Ben said, thank you so very much, Iron Man. You have been helping us as we help others to be better. Thank you for this space. Reverend Ray McHugh said, fathers, we got to preserve peace in our homes. And a lady, so Alvira says, I am on the job. I will have to listen delayed. I understand, but I'm so glad that you're still here with us and chiming in. Bishop, I'm coming to you, sir, with your final thoughts.
Yes, my final thought is that I think every leader, every pastor should have a list of resources, to help people when they comes, because you can't do it all, right? You should have a counselor deal with addiction, one that specializes in family, one that specializes in marital counseling, you know, and so on, right? Just have that resources ready to give, because people are going to come, right? They are going to come, and as anointed as you are, as powerful as you are, right? You does not have it all to give. There are some people that need professional help, and you must point to them, point to the right person or the right group or the right company or whatever to to give them that help that they needed. God bless you.
Thank you so much, dear Bishop. Dwayne Bryan said, I feel like Jeremiah, fire in my bone to regain that strength I need. Thank you so much, Dwayne. And Uche said, it is well. Pastor Clive, we coming to you, sir, with your final thoughts.
My final thoughts. I just want to mention something to the mothers, the wives, the aunts. Um, find a nephew, find a niece, find somebody as a man, or a woman. It doesn't matter. Just reach out to somebody. Genuinely ask them how they're doing, not because you want to fray or fast in their business, but to see how they're really doing. Sometime just a little phone call, asking, check up on me to see how I'm doing goes a long way, because sometimes persons are going through things and you may not be that one, but by just checking up and the person can say, I'm well, they feel the love, they feel the care, they feel somebody out there is checking up on them. When last have you called your son and asked him how is he doing? Yes, he's 40, he's 30. Yes, he's a big man, he's married, he's moved on with his life. But you don't know what the hell, you don't know the hell that he's going through even at his house. You don't know how many times he have pulled up to the driveway and spending more time in his car than going into his home. You don't know. But by just a phone call, just to see. And I'm
Yes.
saying to fathers, reach out to your son. Wives, reach out to your husband. And as I'm on the wife topic, let me just say this to wives. Sometimes the husband don't perform, because oftentimes we heard that man is not performing. Sometimes it's a mental thing where he can't. Lazarus don't really want to resurrect, and you understand. So you have to find out why is this. Listen, find out, sit down, instead of yelling and screaming and let him feel as if I know he has no desire to stand up as a man, So have the conversation, talk to him,
Yes.
talk so that they don't feel like you're killing the man within the man.
Mm-hmm. Find out what's going on. Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. Pastor Carl Brown, Reverend Overseer, coming to you for your final thoughts as we put a cap on it and right on the top of the hour.
Bless you, Doc. Thanks again for this opportunity. Um, Let me say that men, you're gifted but exhausted, called but disconnected, present but empty. I am declaring that that era is over.
It's over.
Moving, we're responding to the call. The question was asked, Adam, where art thou? Men, let's answer the call. If God called us, it means that. If God is searching for us, it means that He wants to do something in us. And I believe that this here is an indication that something great can happen for us men. Break the silence and be a part of the Powered Up Man Mentorship Network. If you want to be a part of the WhatsApp community, it's 876-807-1693. 876-807-1693. We have a WhatsApp community and we also have the Instagram page. But come and be a part of this community where you can hear when we meet again, like we did on Tuesday, with powerful, life transforming discussions. We break in the silence. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you so much. The season, the period, the year of silence. Reverend
Yeah,
Carl Brown have declared that it is over.
it's over.
Join the mentorship program. It's 876-0807-1693. That's 876-807-1693. Connect there. You can also go there on Instagram for the Powered Up Mentorship program. Give me the handle again for the Instagram, Reverend Brown.
It's PUM Mentorship at Instagram,
PUM
PUM Mentorship.
Mentorship.
And
That's
just to
Power
plug,
Up Men Mentorship.
right.
PUM Mentorship
And
on
there is the
Instagram.
Powered Up Man devotional that is available. Yes, this devotional. I know tomorrow is Father's Day, but you can still
Yes.
order it. Give yourself a gift, fathers. The Powered Up Man 30-day devotional. It's one of the best sellers of the 4 books that I've written. This is one of the best sellers. It's available on Amazon, or if you want to reach out to me directly, and I can tell you how to get it. But get yourself one of these.
Power Up Man.
Powerful, powerful.
Thank you
Thank
so much. So you can go to Amazon just in case. Carl Brown, Karl, Carl Brown. And once you go there, you will find all the books there. Thank you so much to my worthy panelists. Thank you for being on. To all our listeners near and far, we want to say thank you for tuning in and for being here with us. Of course, we are wrapping this program, and next week we'll start a brand new one. To all the fathers, we want to wish you, on behalf of the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast and HDG Radio, we want to wish you a very happy Father's Day on tomorrow. And we pray that the blessing of the Lord will be on you and you continue to walk in power and in boldness. As we wrap today's conversation, let this truth settle in your heart. You are never meant to carry the weight alone. We live, yes, we do. We live in a world that tell men to be strong by staying silent, to power through pain, to let them see, never, rather, let them see you sweat. But the strength of iron isn't in the hardness, it's in the ability to endure, to be shaped, and to be strengthened by fire. Real strength, beloved, is not found in isolation but in connection. It is found in honesty, in brotherhood, in surrender. It is found when a man say, I am not okay, but I'm not staying here. Jesus said, come unto me, all who have labored and are heavy laden, and I will give thee rest. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's where healing begins. And so, if you're listening today and you're carrying a silent struggle, Reverend Brown have declared that that season is over. But I want you to know that that weight is real. Your worth is greater, and you don't have to stay there. Speak up, reach out, trust God, and remember that even iron sharpen iron. On behalf of the entire production crew right here on HGG Radio, we want to thank you for tuning into the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. As always, if you enjoyed today's episode, share with somebody that need it. Leave a review. Go to our Facebook page at H Higher Ground Gospel Radio. Download our app at Higher Ground Gospel Radio everywhere you download your applications from. Go to our YouTube page and like us and subscribe to it. Share it with everybody else, and let's keep those subscriptions going. Higher Ground Gospel Radio, rather. That's it. And you can go to hggradio.ca. So much outlet. Connect with us. And of course, if you haven't purchased a copy of my book, go there. It's still doing great things. Lessons I've learned along the way. Blowing mind. We're going to take it on the road. We just came back from England with it, and it did wonderful in Wolverhampton and London area. And of course, we're getting ready again next month to take it on the road. Florida, I'm coming your way. We're taking it on the road next month. So I'll give you all the details very soon. But until next time, my friends, stay empowered, stay strong, not just in muscle, but in mind and in truth. This is the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where men, strong man rise and real men heal. We are not just talk, but we're informative. Until next time, take care. Walk good.
What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. You fill me up when I am low. You show me the way to go. You meet my needs. You answer me. And now I stand in victory. What a mighty God. Hey, what a mighty God we serve. Oh, what a mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God.
What if the challenges you face weren't setbacks, but setups? In Lessons I've Learned Along the Way by Dr. Lincoln Bryan, discover the hard-won wisdom that turns pain into power, mistakes into meaning, and everyday moments into life-changing revelation. This isn't just another self-help book. It's a raw, honest, and inspiring journey through the highs and lows of real life. Whether you're looking for guidance, motivation, or just a reminder that you're not alone, this book meets you where you are. Lessons I've Learned Along the Way, your roadmap to resilience. Now available on Amazon. Grab your copy today and start turning your own lessons into legacy. Get ready to be inspired. Introducing a brand new show on HGG Radio, The Journeys and the Lessons Podcast, with your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, every second and fourth Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Real stories, real growth, real transformation, because every journey has a story and every story holds a lesson. Unlock, unfiltered, your journey, your lessons. Catch up here only on HGG Radio. Your story begins here.
Everybody now, get ready to be inspired with HGG Radio, your 24/7 gospel music companion in Edmonton, reaching the world. Owned and operated by Higher Ground Tabernacle Ministry, we feature a diverse Wagwan Edmonton. Get ready to turn up the vibes at Ayamide Jamaican and Caribbean Groceries, located in the heart of Little Jamaica, Caribbean Center Marketplace, 4433 118 Avenue. Experience the taste of home with our fresh produce, authentic ingredients, Caribbean fish and meat, specialty items, jerk seasoning, fresh coconuts, and many more. It's not just about the groceries. Little Jamaica's got the whole Caribbean experience right at your doorstep. Check out the recording studio, restaurant, hair salon, barber, and printing shop, all within walking distance in the vibrant Caribbean Center Marketplace. Our mission to bring the Caribbean community together, one delicious meal at a time. So what are you waiting for? Visit ayamidegroceries.com or give us a call at 780-477-9800 or email ayamidegroceries@gmail.com. Edmonton's original Jamaican and Caribbean grocery store.
This is where we pull things down right here on Facebook and on YouTube. You can join us on the app. You can stay with us right here on HGG Radio. Thank you for joining us on this morning.
You're the rock that I can run into. You're the rock that I can run into. You're the